lifelong Cleveland Browns fan and a Cleveland native, Jean Goblinger. I know we had talked about the last time you were on the podcast that I wanted to have you back when the Browns were making the playoffs, and I said in a truthfully but joking manner, please don't let it be 5 years from now. But I'm glad to have you here.
I'm here to prove you wrong.
I'm glad that the Browns are proving me wrong and proving everybody wrong. How are you doing today, Jean?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm really excited to be here again. I'm excited about my brownies.
Yeah, and you know, this has been some season. It has been really such a, I wouldn't say roller coaster for them because it's been fairly positive. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything to really feel bad about right now or worry about, you know, any shoe dropping.
No, I think we're going to finish out strong. We have the Jets coming up, and like I told you earlier, I'm hoping my Christmas wish is to end the year beating my husband's team, the Steelers. So I'm positive. I'm hopeful. We look good all around. We got some great members on the team. We got Chubb and Hunt, and they're running and they're making big plays, and Baker's got lots of targets, so super exciting to watch. I feel like a kid again back in Cleveland when I used to watch the Browns and the Cardiac Kids, and there was so much going on, and everybody was excited to watch, and all the players were exciting to see, and that's the same feeling we have again. But just like the Cardiac Kids, we know that the game isn't over until that very last second. You saw that with the Ravens game. Every second counts.
Yeah, and that's definitely true because in any sport, things can happen. You just got to make sure there's triple zeros, the red light goes off, what the final gun is shot, and anything to make sure that your team has fully come out with a victory.
As a Browns fan, I've seen plenty of games or teams when their teams are losing and they leave the stands and they're going home. I'm like, where are you going? It's not over. There's more left to play, because I know what could really happen at the end. And those things happen, just like with the Ravens game.
Oh, yeah, and that's definitely true. One of the first things I wanted to ask you, what drew you to the Browns and how long you've been a fan of the Browns?
Oh, I've been a fan forever. So I've been born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and we love sports. We're a sports town. So I grew up with the 3 F's, Earl. So every Sunday it was faith. So we would go to church. It was family. We would surround ourselves around the TV, and it was football. And we were huge Browns fans. So I just grew up on it. It was something that I was born into. And so as soon as I could say go, I finished that with Browns.
That is so awesome because teams are always passed down family to family, generation to generation. And, you know, you may have the rare exception of one kid who may be a fan of something else, but
Right.
And I've heard so many different stories of that. Like one of my guests, my nephew, his dad's a Ravens fan. He's a Colts fan.
Well, that's my family because I am a Browns fan and my son is a Steelers fan. But, you know, everybody has their weaknesses or their faults, right?
Oh, so true. What is your biggest, greatest, favorite Browns memory?
Oh my gosh, there are so many because like I said, I grew up with football and watching the Browns, and it's the feeling that you get of having that, you know, with family and like I said, that's my childhood memories. So we still, even though I'm in Maryland and they're in Ohio, we will either FaceTime or call each other, or we'll be texting throughout the whole game. So we continue to keep that family tradition alive. And so that's another big part of it. So there's so many different memories. Anytime we beat the Steelers, that's a great memory. Bernie Kosar, going through all the different coaches, all the pain and disappointment, those are always big memories. But if I want to say recent, this season, when we played the Titans and the Peoples-Jones touchdown, it kind of solidified that, which I think is another question, is that I thought, wow, you know, we're a really great team. We could beat, you know, one of the best teams, and now we could shut up all the haters.
Expectations going into the season. It's a little unusual season, to say the least. 2020 has been an unusual year. overall, but going in, no training camp, new head coach, what were the expectations?
Well, this is true because I am a Browns fan. So my expectations are what they are every year, very high. So I'm like Charlie Brown with Lucy and the football. And so I'm always expecting great things. It just has turned out that finally Lucy didn't take the ball away from us. So it's very exciting. So expectations as a Browns fan, every year we go into it. Every year we get the draft. It's painful because we know they're going to pick another quarterback. People make jokes about it. So every year we're expecting great things. But this year, when I had talked to you the last time, I saw we had the talent there. We really do. And we had this great team. And with the new coach coming in, I knew if we could just execute this, then we could be a great team. And that's what I was telling you last time, is that we have the talent. We just need to learn how to manage it. And so we put all those pieces together finally. So it's super exciting to finally see it come to fruition.
Especially the 4 coaches in the past 3 years, Hugh Jackson, Greg Williams finishing out as the interim and when they were on that hot streak, then Freddie Kitchens, that didn't last too long, and now Kevin Stefanski. That is very huge. I know the consistency with coaching, that was the one thing, but now it seems like everything is on the right path. Was there a particular point that you knew that the Browns were going to be playoff bound this season?
Well, like I said, we needed that. We've been looking for that kind of franchise quarterback, which people will argue with you saying, Baker's not really it. But I saw that potential in him. So I knew that we had the makings of a great team. But as far as this season, every time that they played, they got better every game, and they were playing a better game, and they were becoming more and more creative with their play and the play calling. Even the games that we lost, they still played phenomenally. So I saw a different team. And with Baker, like I said, I know people will challenge you whether he's a franchise quarterback or not. But he has that kind of leadership with them. And he has that great kind of, you can see that he works well with his team and they really like him and they're having fun, even with him doing his interviews and he's doing all that, with the social media kind of commentary, and he's inserting, I guess, I don't know if you've seen this, but with his interviews, he's been putting in different song lyrics. And that was something that like his teammates had come up with him. They challenged him to do during these interviews. So they're having fun together. So it's fun. It's fun all around. It seems fun for them and it's fun for us to watch.
Was there a moment during the season that you were concerned that, oh, here we go again, especially, was there a slide that you were really concerned?
No, because I thought that like we should have, the games that we lost them for ourselves. So I thought we could have done better or we could have managed better. So we beat ourselves in those games that I saw the potential that in those games that we lost, we should not have lost. I'll give away the first game. We should have definitely lost that, but it was rusty. So you're like, it's the beginning of the season. You're playing the Ravens. That was an expected loss. So once the season went on, I really didn't think that they looked bad. I know it was very disappointing after the Ravens game, but they still played phenomenally. So I don't think there was one game where I was ever really worried.
Looking at the AFC playoff field, who do you feel the Browns match up the best with in the AFC playoff race?
The best game of this year that we played was against the Ravens. That was the game of the year. I mean, everybody would, I don't know who would disagree with that. They both played phenomenally. It was very exciting to watch. I'm sure it was exciting for them to play in. I'm looking forward to like the end. And so, wishful thinking, I want us to be the winner. I want us to win it all, go to the Super Bowl. And I'm actually hoping that we play the Packers at the end in the Super Bowl. And the reason being that is because, I teach at Salisbury University, and I am friends with the lacrosse coach, Coach Berkman, and he likes to send me messages after games that I've lost and tell me that I need to become a Packers fan because they're a team that doesn't lose. So I would love to go to the Super Bowl and beat him And then I could send him a text message that he needs to become a Browns fan because his team just lost. So in all reality, I don't know what'll happen if we are not in it. I would really like to see the Bills go in from the AFC because they remind me of the Browns, all the struggles that they've had, and they've worked hard, and they're not like that big name team. So, the given of the NFC is most people would say Chiefs. But again, I like to see those teams that have struggled and that have that background story. So that's where I'm going at. I'm hoping it's me. I'm hoping you have me back again and I could say Cleveland Browns won the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, and that definitely is a possibility. I always see it with playoffs. Everything's a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. Everybody thought, and I go back to the Bengals Steelers series where Carson Palmer gets hurt. Everybody was thinking that the Bengals were going to beat the Steelers, and then everything changed on a dime. You never know. Not wishing anybody ill, but you never know what kind of strange things will occur in the playoffs, and those things tend to happen. One thing I want to ask you: who's the team as a Browns fan that you don't want to see in the AFC portion of the playoffs?
Oh, of course I don't want the Ravens in there. That's my number one team. I wouldn't. I have a lot of Ravens fans that are friends of mine, but I'm bitter right now. We just lost a big game to them, so I don't want to see them make it into the playoffs. I actually don't even want to see them get there. So, but we'll see what happens. What team scares you in the AFC? Well, just from the past history, I would say, the Steelers have always found a way of pulling it out, even when they look like, they're losing, even when, Ben Roethlisberger's thrown like 2 interceptions in a quarter. They have a way of always coming back. I feel like there's some luck that they have to them, but they're a team that's to be still looked at. And again, like I said, I think the Bills are really good this year. They have been terrible in the years past. So those are 2 big teams that I think are going to be big contenders still in the AFC. Kevin Stefanski stepping in, being the head coach. I know everybody was excited about Freddie Kitchens last year because, he was the Baker whisperer. He got the most out of him, and then that did not work well because Freddie Kitchens was not a head coach. He was an offensive coordinator and nothing more, which, some people, they have to know their limits, but, if somebody's going to offer you a job, you take it. But it looks like Stefanski has really gotten everything going. What were your thoughts when they made the hire of Stefanski, and then really, how have you seen that blossom? You know what? Actually, at first I was a little nervous because I'm like, why do we keep changing it? When we see something that's like working, at least somewhat, there's always a change. It's either, like the quarterback hasn't really gone all the way to, for example, like the playoffs last year, but he did well. So there's potential. But if you can't grow on that potential, then you'll never reach it. So it's always, there's so much change within the Browns, whether it is quarterbacks or whether it's coaching. And that disrupts that kind of flow to make sure that they're getting to where they need to go. So I was a little kind of like, well, we did decent. Why would you want to change it? But now that I see him this year and how well he's done, I'm more than thrilled that they actually did make that change. So again, it's just the frustration of being a Browns fan, never having that stability, but we have the pieces in place finally. And I think that it's a good thing. And I think that if they continue to grow that way, we will continue to win games and hopefully make the playoffs, and maybe we'll win more than 1 Super Bowl. I mean, there are a lot of Browns championships. I know it's the pre-Super Bowl era, but those still should count towards something because a couple AAFC titles, a couple of NFL championships. I mean, it's not like they don't have a title. It's just, everybody decides pre-Super Bowl era, that stuff doesn't count. And I know Packers fans will tell you they do count, but. Well, Earl, that they actually put Stefanski's name in the running for Coach of the Year. So I mean, he's done phenomenal things. So people are taking notice. They're finally taking notice of the Browns. We still have the haters out there, but our record stands for itself, and so do the statistics of our players. And so I'm just gonna hopefully keep cheering for the Browns, and they'll keep doing well. And you can never listen to the haters.
And now we go into our predictions for the Super Bowl in Tampa. Who do you have coming out of the AFC? Who do you have coming out of the NFC? What will the final score be?
Okay, again, like I said, optimistically, it's me. It's the Browns. So, and then if it is the Browns, we'll have to come back and I'll have to, yay for me, the Browns made it. And I'm hoping that we do play the Packers and that we actually win, and the score will be 27-21. And this isn't the first time that I've made a prediction that it's come true. So I don't know. I'm on a roll, Earl.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like I said, as we wrap this up, I really appreciate this. I want to know if you wanted to give any shout outs and what are ways people can reach out to you via social media or what so.
Shout out to all my Cleveland family. Hello, Simon family. I hope that you're watching, and I wanted to say go Browns. And shout out to my husband, who's a big Steelers fan. I'm sorry about your last 3 games. Hopefully at the end of the season, we'll make it 4 games that you've lost. I'm on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and Snapchat. So that you have that information. I guess we can put that in the link.